There it is. Yo, hey, let me know if you can hear me, because I don't even know which mic I plugged up, man. Can anybody hear me? Let me know. K Money, what up? What up? What up? Can you hear me? We good? Bet, 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 bet. Cool, cool, cool. Man. What up? What up? What up, party people? So I come on for a quick little something, man. I gotta pass some time before I make my next move real fast. Man. What my man used to say, come on in, family. Come on in. You know what I mean? Come on in. Come on in. Hurry up and hit the like button. Come on in. Talk to y'all about some mystical stories real fast. I was having this conversation with my peoples last night. Some profound stuff, man. But the subject matter really is about the great Paramahamsa Yogananda. Pretty much the champion of kicking the doors down in the West United States and bringing yoga through, although he wasn't the first one, but definitely I would say the most popular one without a shadow of a doubt. So his famous book is the Autobiography of the Yogi. This was the only book that Steve Jobs had on his iPad at the time of his passing. All right. So if you never ever, what's up, Manifesting Bliss? What's happening? If you never read the Autobiography of a Yogi, Kim Bailey, what up? See, Edwin seen it. You're slipping. You're slipping, man. The movie Awake don't even do Yogananda no justice. You know what I'm saying? And so there's a few chapters in that book that I want to talk about, a few stories about his lifestyle that I want to talk about to show you, or really just lay the foundation down of super consciousness. All right. Nikki Love 621, what up, what up, what up? You know what I mean? So you got to get the book Autobiography of a Yogi. You got to. All right. So let's get started. So one of the chapters deals with, let's deal with the amulet or the medallion. His mom is in meditation, and somebody knocks on the door, and it's a saint, like a guru type of dude. Asks the mom, like, hey, you got a son that has pretty much some spiritual powers. He was young at the time. And tell the mom, tomorrow while you in meditation, a medallion is going to appear while you're in meditation. And you are to give it to your son when you get, feel like you're ready for it. And surely as it comes to you, one day it's going to disappear from him. And so it wasn't until years later, when Yogananda's mom had passed, his brother actually gave him the medallion and told him of it. And one day he left it in the hermitage, which is the spiritual sanctuary of his guru, Sri Yukeshwar. And when he came back, it mysteriously just was gone. All right. Now, case study or real life parallel. I remember Jew and his wife was looking, she lost like 20 bucks, looking all over for it, getting up, turning up the cushions and shit on the seat, on the couch, whatever. And he happened to look, when they sat back down, he happened to look in the crease of her arm right here. $20 bill was laying right there. Now, how can a $20 bill be at the crease of your arm when you done got up and moved around and you was looking for something, right? My own experience was my son that passed about 2 years ago. He was given, he had asked, no. Well, how did that come? My dad ended up giving my son a Marilyn Monroe lighter. And when he passed, I had started thinking about, you know, the little cues to, you know, the little clues, you know what I'm saying, to piece this whole thing together. Pay attention to piece it all together, right? So I'm like, Mom, I'm on the phone with my mom. I'm like, Mom, where's that Marilyn Monroe lighter? Because at that time, what? No, you want it. When my dad said he gave him a Marilyn Monroe lighter, he like, Dominique, what the hell you know about Marilyn Monroe? Mind you, my son is 19, right? Well, actually 18, about to be 19. And what do you know about Marilyn Monroe? I know about her, Grandpa. You know what I mean? So he ended up getting him a Marilyn Monroe lighter. And so when he passed, you know, I'm reflecting, putting the pieces together, and I'm like, oh shit, wait a minute. Hold up. Because the deaths were, you know, similar. And I'm like, oh shit, that nigga had a Marilyn Monroe lighter. What the fuck is the odds of that? And then I'm like, oh, okay. So what I went to go do is I went to go grab Marilyn Monroe's chart and my son's chart, and I superimpose them on top of each other with this technique called synastry. Okay. And I noticed something. And what I noticed was the eclipse patterns, the eclipse before your birthday, which is a solar eclipse, and a lunar eclipse. So those are your prenatal, basically solar, prenatal, lunar, and then the post, the ones after your birthday. So in a nutshell, you're born in between the new moon eclipse and full moon eclipse before your birthday, and the solar moon, and then the ones after your birthday. Okay. So the new moon and full moon eclipse is after your birthday, okay? A solar eclipse is when the sun and moon are directly together, and a piece of the moon is gonna block out, well, the moon gonna block out some of the sun, if not all of the sun. When it blocks out all of the sun, it's called a total eclipse, okay? So that's the solar eclipse. The lunar eclipse is like a full moon when you start to see the shadow of, you know, the shadow on the moon, okay? So that's a lunar eclipse. So it's basically like a full moon, new moon, okay? And so I noticed that they had the exact same eclipse patterns. Now, this is very, 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 very important, because for some reason in the Holy Quran, chapter 75, you can go read this shit for yourself. Chapter 75, which is titled The Resurrection, which is pretty much reincarnation, okay? They're talking about eclipses. And what the hell do an eclipse have to do with you being resurrected or reborn, right? And so they're talking about it. And I know that if today is, you know, October 26th and there's a full moon, it will take 19 years for the full moon to be on October 26th again. So to make the day match up with the precise moon phase, to do that again, it happens in 19-year intervals. And this is why in the Holy Quran, they have this saying in one of the chapters that over it is the number 19, right? This is why Mother Tanetta, rest in peace, who was an author of the Nation of Islam's column in the Final Call called Unveiling the Number 19. That's why her title was that, Unveiling the Number 19. And what they're really talking about is a 18.6 19-year cycle known as a Metonic cycle, Metonic, Metonic cycle, okay? And so I said, shit, according to the Quran, the 19-year cycle is the prime opportunity for reincarnation. Mind you, my son is 18 at the time of his death, and coming up in that August, he's going to be 19. And his daughter is about to be born at that time, right? I said, oh, shit. All right. So I'm looking at the Marilyn Monroe chart, and I'm like, oh, ooh, I got something here. I figured a piece of the puzzle out. And so I've shared this before. So I tell my mom, I'm like, hey, listen, homeboy coming back as his daughter. Now that shit may sound crazy because you're like, well, if he alive and his daughter is alive, how can he be that which is already alive? This is where you have to understand Ba and Ka in the Egyptian aspect, which is basically soul and spirit. Okay? They're not the same thing. All right? So you can have what appears to be a autonomous being as baby, but the moment umbilical cord is cut, that's when activating spirit gets to activate soul. Okay? And so my mom goes to work and she at a hospital, right? What up, T-Mac? She in a hospital. And so a lady reading the Bible, a patient reading the Bible, and she see my mom, she's like, oh, I've been looking for you. I got the word for you. You got a grandson that recently, had left, passed something. I'm like, no. Like, yeah, you do. You got a grandson that passed. And then the lady tells her, well, don't you worry, because everything is all right. And he's coming back like this summer as a baby girl. And then my mom walks out the room, come back into the room, and the woman said, what did I say something to scare you? And my mother told her, quote, and I remember her telling me this, no, my son told me the same thing. I get my mom on right now, right? My son, me, told her the same thing. Now, speed it up, two more things about this. At the picture of the ultrasound, there's crazy light rays of light that's in the ultrasound room. You know what I'm saying? Let me see something real fast. Hold on. Let me see if I can actually find that picture. Let me see something. Hold on. I don't know if y'all can see the band of light. You can see that. The band of light that's coming down. Right? Now, his girl was like, I had asked that he be present doing this. And I'm like, yo, was it a light? She's like, no, it wasn't no light. I said, all right, cool. Now here's the last part. And I move off this. My son had told her that one day I'm going to come back as a baby. I'm going to find you and I'm going to remember everything. That's what he said. So now at that point right there, I was like, shit, nigga, I'm good. I'm peace. Not that I wasn't at peace anyway. That don't mean I didn't cry, because I most certainly had my days. Don't mean I didn't feel. You know what I'm saying? But he said what he said. You know what I mean? Like, shit, nigga, you thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? And shit, that's what's up. You on some other shit. That's part of your soul's evolution. So anyway, to validate that with my own experience, that lighter never came up. My mom said he always kept it in his bag. They go through his belongings. That shit gone. They cannot find that shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's akin to, even with these medallions that we made these medallions some years ago. Jew medallion came up missing. Gone. Don't know where the hell that shit is. Just gone. And then one time he had it on and actually came off his neck. You know what I'm saying? So we actually had these experiences that these great mystics, these self-realized masters even talk about. So that was one chapter that's like next level, right? Another chapter in there, one of my favorite chapters, one of the craziest experiences I ever had, because I'm like 1 week, well, probably like 10 days away from the anniversary of it, is a chapter with the saint with two bodies. And so that particular story is about as a boy, Yogananda's dad sends him via train to give a letter to somebody. And so he's going to go meet with this one guru, and this other guy is going to come to the guru, and the guru, well, he's going to meet with the guru, and the guru is going to pass this letter on. So he gets to the guru crib, guru of meditation. So as he's in meditation, he comes out of meditation, and he's like, oh, yes, such and such is about to come. And he hears the front door open, and Yogananda tripping like, well, wait, hold the fuck up. I done been here, and you ain't went nowhere. Ain't no telephones. How the hell you know? So he gets up and goes to the hallway, sees the dude coming, and the dude like, hey, yeah, you Yogananda, you such and such dad. You got a letter for me. Yogananda like, oh, wait a minute. How did you know that I was here? And he's like, because the guru is in the living room meditating. He was down by the river, and he said that you was waiting for me. And Yogananda like, what are you talking about? Like, he's been here the whole time. And dude was like, listen, he just came and he told me that you was here, but he also told me don't follow him. And I tried to follow him, but I got lost trying to follow him. And so I came here, and he's like, man, I ain't lying. You know what I mean? And so they went upstairs, and then the guru comes out of meditation, and he tells Yogananda that this is an easy feat for them to do. But Yogananda said that even though that was like next level shit, he knew that that wasn't his guru still. All right. So that's the saint with two bodies. Okay. Now, real life experience. It was October of 2015 or 16. One of the two, 15 or 16. And I'm driving down the highway. Never forget this shit. Driving down the highway. I had just went to, what's that shit? The music store that sell, I mean, not the music store, but they sell music stuff, Garage Center or something like that. And I had just went there because my MacBook Pro had this, every time I record in GarageBand, it was this little ticking noise. It is like, it was messing up. It was crazy every time I record something, a vocal. And so I had went down there to get an interface and came back, and it was still doing it. And I'm like, dummy, you should have took your MacBook down there, right? And let them hear it and see it for themselves. So I'm going back down there, and mind you, on Sundays, I would go this direction because I was going to this spiritual church, all right, which is I was taking 225, right? So 225 in Denver actually it's a spur. A spur is a part of the highway that drops you off on 225, that drops you off on I-25. If y'all don't know nothing about highways, if it's a 3-digit number, first of all, your odd numbers, 75, 95, your odd numbers go north and south in your I-70s, your I-10s, your I-80s, they run east-west. That's the first thing you need to know, okay? And so your even numbers are east-west, your odd numbers are north-south, okay? When it's a 3-digit number like 270, 670, that usually means that that's a circle. If it's an odd number, 225, it's a spur. It don't go full circle. It drops you off on the highway. It's just a shortcut, okay? It's not a complete circle. So I'm on 225 south, okay? Technically, this means that Denver, downtown Denver, will be on my right-hand side if I could see it. But you can't even see downtown Denver from 225 south, okay? And so I'm riding, and downtown Denver appears on my left. And I remember looking, and I kind of freak out internally. And I'm like, what? And then it was an exit. I get off the exit, which I'm telling you, I go this way all the time, right? I get off on this exit, and I swear, right hand to God, I swear to you, it dropped me off on I-25 northbound. And in order for me to get off on I-25 northbound, okay, that means I would have had to been traveling with downtown Denver on my left. And to get off on I-25 northbound means I would have had to been traveling 70 west like I'm going to Cali, okay? And so when I get off the exit where 25 and I-70 meet, that's where I get off at, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not on 225 no more. Somehow I'm on fucking the exit to get off is I-70 and 25 where they intersect. And I get off on that exit. And then I have to pretty much get off on exit. Exit, that's my goddamn birthday. I had to get off on that exit, bust a U-turn, and I'm about 12 miles away from where I'm supposed to be or some shit, right? It's crazy. And so go to the joint, go to the store, whatever the case may be. I'm tripping, right? Because now this is on the eve. This is like one day after my daughter's birthday, or my daughter's birthday is that Saturday and it's Friday, something like that, right? It's either one day before or the day after. And mind you, I got twins, which means it's two. It's a dual reality. And mind you, that twin, one of those twins is on the other side of the veil. Okay. So I'm like, okay. And so shortly thereafter, and I mean shortly, not even a whole week later, the car wouldn't start. Get the car towed. And like, oh man, it's the computer, maybe it's the ignition. Try a new ignition, put a new computer, it starts, bam, get the car back 3 days later, it is doing the same shit, get it towed. Get it back, it probably lasts for almost a week, do the same shit again, get it towed. I go through this episode 3 different times before I realized, before I just came to the conclusion that scrap it. It's a short-circuited because I pretty much time traveled through it. I was in 2 places at the same time. There's absolutely no way that I was on 70. It's not a mistake. I drive this way. I go every Sunday, I go this route. You know what I'm saying? I just left the store. Why would I be going 70 to 25 when I can just hop on 225 and be closer where I'm at? And so the car stops working. And not too long after that, maybe in less than a month, Keisha, which at the time, she was doing tarot, and we used to do a show together. And so she driving on the motherfucking highway, and she ended up in a motherfucking cornfield somehow. And when the police and them get there, they're like, wait a minute, hold on, this shit's impossible based upon where you was at and how you're here. You understand what I'm saying? And I'll let you tell a story when he got the actual receipts where he was in one location, went shopping, got the receipt, went to another location in which, the time that had passed, it was like an hour or so, it had passed. And then he gets something free when they rung it up, it came out to something weird where it's like basically free. And when he looked at the receipt, the time was the same time as it was as if he was at the first spot. Okay? So again, I'm telling you that the shit in Yogananda's book, on our journey, we've had a similar experience. The thing is, and what's crazy about it is, we wasn't consciously projecting to have the experience. I'll never forget driving down that highway, man. That shit was like the Twilight Zone. And I often wonder if I would, like, it was like if y'all ever study like near-death experiences, man, like it's hard to explain in words. Time seemed like it didn't exist. It was like, it felt like a waking dream state, is the best way I can put it. And I wonder if I would have kept straight, what the fuck would have happened? Because I probably would be in a whole nother universe or some shit, because it was weird, man. It was weird. All right. But that's something that's documented inside Autobiography of a Yogi, in that particular chapter, The Saint with Two Bodies. Okay. So I love that particular chapter. Another chapter in there is, man, because I'm looking at Nikki Love say something about my son, he gave birth to himself, dealing with this young student named Kashi. So they was begging Yogananda for a reading, in a sense. Tell me what the future's gonna be, tell me what the future's gonna be, begging him. And he saw that one of the students was going to die, okay? He didn't want to relay that information, but he told the student under no circumstance should he leave the hermitage. Well, the student's parents came, pulled him out the hermitage, and then within that process, he ended up, I think, getting hit by a car or some shit, and he ended up dying. And so when Yogananda told the little dude that, he said, Master, if I do, please promise me that you will find me. I'll be reborn again, that you will find me to put me back on the path. He made him promise that shit. And so Yogananda had got some senses, psychic senses went off, that the little boy was about to be reborn again. And so, as he said, he used a special Kriya Yogic technique where he can spin around in a circle and use his hand like an antenna and detect the direction in which the child was. And according to Yogananda, he goes through these streets, knock on the door, and dude come to the door. Yes, like, excuse me, sorry, I know this may sound strange, but is your wife and you expecting a baby? It's like, yeah. It was totally open to it because they knew that he had on the guru attire. This is India. That's what they do. And so he said, listen, if this kid be born, his name is going to be, this was Kashi. Put him in over here at the spiritual school when he born. And so the kid was born. They end up putting him over there in the spiritual school. You know what I'm saying? I don't particularly have that story of finding a particular one, but kind of deal goes back to my son and as a daughter, well, as his daughter in a sense. And so even when Jude asked me, or you talk to your grandbaby, I'm like, I don't process that. I'm like, oh, Adrian, and even my sister, and I'll be like, yo, that I don't process that like that. Like, I process that like that's my son, who, because he told this girl he gonna come back any goddamn way. Like, so like I don't process that as like a grandchild. I process that as the reincarnation of my son. But I don't interfere in the process right now, because when you understand karma, you understand what I'm saying. Karma simply means action. I ain't talking about bad stuff. I'm talking about, it just simply means for every action creates a reaction. When you understand karma and you understand attachments, when you don't have the proper understanding, especially in the Western hemisphere, because again, you always come to the point of enlightenment through some point of pain, it becomes dangerous. And when you have differences You know what I mean? Your own karmic shit you got to go through as a soul any damn way. And differences and misunderstandings and shit. Then that's going to kick the wheel of karmic action to go. And this is why the Hindu and the Buddhist know that it's about compassionate detachment. And so for me, I don't even like our last text, like, yo, you need something, hit me up, let me know. But right now, it's not for me to engage and try to trigger memories and you know what I mean? That's not for me, because then it kicks a whole nother thing in motion. And see, this shit is deep, because if you got unresolved issues, then it's called reincarnation. And then when you reincarnate and shit, you fucking forget every goddamn thing. And then you may have to go through another point of pain to get you to realize this shit. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't want no pieces of it. Not at this particular level. You understand what I'm saying? That's one advice that I probably took from somebody before. Because I remember a guy who said he had a spiritual teacher who came back as a baby, and I asked him specifically, "Well, have you met the baby?" He said, "No, not right now. It's not time right now." And that's exactly how I feel. You understand? Because I understand the laws of this shit. You know what I mean? All right. So, all right. So that's another one. Outwitting the Stars. How about that chapter? Yogananda wants to outwit the negative influence of stars. And you can and you can't. And the reason why, and I'm gonna validate this shit, Sri Yukteswar, his guru, tell him, "Do you have an astrological bangle?" "I don't know, master. I don't have no astrological bangle. I'm one with God. I don't need that. I'm one with God." Right? Get it. Well, whether you believe in it or not doesn't mean that it's not true. You need to get you one made of lead and special metals and whatnot, because these properties will actually negate the negative influence. So at the time, something was supposed to last 6 months, some type of illness, and he ended up only lasting for 30 days. And then he leaves the master. Then a couple of days later, next thing you know, he even fell ill. Right? And so, well, I say you can and you can't, because Yogananda even says it, that I've had astrological readings where people told me that I can't do something, and sheer willpower can get it done, but I did have more obstacles than the normal, but it got done. And that's true in the sense that, okay, this may not be the ample time to do something, but it's not that it can't get done. You may have a whole bunch of motherfucking obstacles in the way, but it can be realized. Now, the reason why I say you can't is because it's like, how you not breathe air? How can you not feel the sunlight, in a sense? It's a system, and everybody's a part of the system. That's what makes this whole thing one whole. So how you gonna get outside of something that you're in? You understand what I'm saying? And so, but I get it. We're talking about not having the negative aspect of the influence of that particular energy. You see what I'm saying? And that's something to be worked on. You know what I mean? So Outwitting the Stars was very, very, very informative and whatnot. Who is this? Mac P? Yeah. What Mike P at? He ain't in here? Yeah, definitely heard Magic Squares. Right? So that's a good chapter. Outwitting the Stars is pretty, really dope. The perfume saint, or perfume swami, in a sense, where this dude you walk up to him and say, "You want to smell a rose?" And then rose. "You want to smell jasmine?" Jasmine. "You want to smell lavender?" Then the scent comes out. That was pretty dope. Don't have that one an experience. Man, it was one Kabir. This is an Islamic dude who had tapped into a spirit, and the spirit could reveal anything, but he ended up using the spirit for bad and started stealing people's stuff. You know what I'm saying? Shit just magically, disappeared, and he was taking stuff. But then his master, who initiated him in it, ended up catching him and whatnot. So I mean, the book is pretty dope, man. It's really dope to see what the indwelling spirit of consciousness can experience and not be limited by space and time. You know what I'm saying? So if you haven't read it, you gotta read it, man. And the last thing I'll share about it is, well, Yogananda in himself, and I talked about it before, when I don't think a lot of people really realize that he purposely died. Like, these cats mastered meditation to that point where they know how to leave the body and all senses be turned off like they did and come back into the body at will. And, he told his people that night that he passed, like, hey, the hour is near. He gives this speech, and, hollow be the thought, whatever, and when this body hits the sod, when he says this body hits the sod, boom, it falls back and he's dead. It's a real story. You got to go Google how Yogananda died to see if he didn't die giving a speech on purpose. And his body, they said they had to ship it back to India, which took weeks. His body was still in pristine shape and smelled like perfume, which now brings my attention to what Nipsey Hussle, R.P. Nip, his mom said he had this beautiful aroma coming off of him. You know what I'm saying? And so these states can be reached through, obviously, through dedicated paths of constant meditation. Constant meditation. And I like the meditative aspect of it, because I call that the feminine form, because you allow your mind to receive versus you trying to conjure up an image purposely. You allow your mind to receive what naturally comes up. And when you get into that state of reception like that, then that to receive something means you just took on something and you become bigger. It's like getting this and this and this and that, versus trying to project this one particular image. So when you're in the aspect of receiving, hence the mystics from the Hebrew known as Kabbalah, Kabbalah means to receive. You see what I'm saying? And so when you get in the mode of receiving, then your mind can expand. But what are you receiving? You understand what I'm saying? You're receiving light, you're receiving consciousness that's just coming online within self. And then you start to develop a super conscious ability, which means the dormant brain cells start to come alive. That's all it means. It starts to come alive, and then now you start to transcend space-time. See what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man, Yogananda is a beast. Yogananda initiated me back in 2015 in a dream state. And I'll tell you where. In North Carolina, it used to be this, it's kind of like a Airbnb type of thing. And off Mount Pisgah Highway. And it was called the Dove's Nest. This big ass white dude who was going by the name of Ra Osiris, who now changed his name and said another entity has come in. I think he under the Melchizedek aspect now. He moved to Florida. But at that location, let me just give you the timeline of events. So this is about 2012. Me and a partner, we go there Just me and him. Spend a night for a weekend there at the Dove's Nest. Because I'm going to have him take me on the Vortex tours in the Asheville area so I can come back and give it to Black folks. So y'all can go to the Grandfather Mountains that we've been, to Chimney Rocks that we've been. You understand what I'm saying? So y'all can get this experience, right? So I'm going to go get the game and I'll come back and give it to you. And on our way there, there was a big ass star ship that was in the sky that we saw. Seen this shit, right? So we go there, and the next day we do like a go outside. You know how people be having the pyramids made out of like copper and shit. And we go outside and we do this prayer. And this wind came out of nowhere, man. It was like freaking damn near, I promise you, lifted us off our feet as we was doing this prayer, right? So it was in that setting, that was like 2012. In 2015, when I go through the Kriya Yoga initiation, like that was a physical initiation that I went through from a lineage of Harinanda, who was initiated by Yogananda and Yukeshwar. Yukeshwar was his guru, but Yukeshwar instructed Yogananda to initiate Harinanda, okay? And so in a dream state after the initiation, I was back in North Carolina, and where the wind was blowing, and off afar, sitting off, was Babaji, who is the timeless yogi who always is in lotus position. It's the only picture you see of Babaji in lotus position. And it was Yogananda, but it was Yogananda as a young boy. If you look in the autobiography of a yogi, you will see, and that's my cousin, man. I was thinking about this dude. You will see, you'll see the picture. So he then do this thing was called Shaktipat. Shaktipat is when you transfer energy into somebody. And he put it in my right hand on the right side, which is very interesting because when I come online, the right side of my right hand gets hot if I come online. So this is like my electric hand, and my left side is my magnetic side. It's more of a receiving side in a sense, but if I start doing like Qigong or something like that, I can feel the energy radiating from my right side. So on the right side of my body, they transfer this energy to me. So I'm doing this thing called Shaktipat. And then in another dream state, like the next day, I got this shit in the journal. I got to go back and find these journals because it was like a series of days that kept running, coming to me. And Harinanda was actually messing with my hand, showing me how to use the energy. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I mean, you know, I had Yogananda come in young form, a young Yogananda come in young form. And this shit is real interesting because this shit is like 2015, right? And back in 2011, let me see, 11 was, we went to Serpent. No, it was 2012. Because 11, we was at Serpent. And then we did, so I think 12 was when I took the people to Sedona for the first time. And I think we went 2 times that year. So when we went to Sedona, like, man, I ain't fucking with Yogananda in there until like 15. But in 2012 in Sedona, Jew used to be like, he go get the autobiography of Yogi and shit, and he'd be like, yo, Noble, this your daddy, nigga. This your daddy. And he will always be fucking with me about Yogananda, like being my daddy and shit. And it's so funny because I used to get this eerie, not bad eerie, but an eerie kind of feeling when I used to see Yogananda. But I used to know intuitively that one day I'm gonna have to go through that path, you know what I'm saying? Because It's a bookstore in Philadelphia called Pearls of Wisdom. Yeah, so I used to always see them back then. You see what I'm saying? Which would have been '06, '07, '08, '09. You know what I'm saying? For years I would see it, but I wouldn't touch Yogananda in them until 2015. You know what I'm saying? But 3 years prior, Jew had some type of premonition that was like, yo, nigga, this your daddy, this, no, you know what I'm saying? Because he had picked up something and read it while we was in Sedona, and it paralleled something that I was saying and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man, Yogananda is super dope, super dope, super dope, man. So self-realized master who mastered this state called Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where you can leave your body at will and come back. And now, shit, man, when they play that card and they be like, hold on. You ain't no realized master until you able to master that. I got it. You got that one. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother level. You know what I mean? A whole nother level. And so, yeah, man, y'all got to get up on Yogananda, man. Y'all got to y'all got to get the autobiography of Yogi, for real. Super dope. Super dope. Because what ended up happening was he moved to California, and then they formed something in America called the Self-Realization Fellowship, SRF. And then they got lessons that you can actually take, home lessons of meditations and stuff that he taught the students, because American students obviously kept the tradition going to this day. And you can get lessons and stuff from. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, you got to get up on Yogananda. Sedona is, man, I think maybe everybody may be different. Sedona is for lovers, not Virginia. That's Virginia's motto, but Sedona is really the place for lovers. If you want to feel what subtle energy is, it's not a loud energy. It's not, you know, it's Mother Earth. It's just soft, so feminine. To me, you got to be in love with somebody. I mean, y'all have to be in love to go to Sedona to get the best out of Sedona. I don't, and you cannot allow, if it's a group setting, man, you got to be absolutely on point on who is in the group. You know what I'm saying? Because the chemistry. It's all about chemistry when you go there. And if you're sensitive enough, you'll cry. You know what I'm saying? Like Mount Shasta makes people cry. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, you gotta check Sedona out, man. Sedona is special. I probably have never hosted another group joint to Sedona. I've done it 3-4 times. Energy was all right, you know what I'm saying? But I probably would never do it as a group because it's something more meaningful in Sedona. And it's so crazy because every time we go to Sedona, right? Like my favorite spot is Boynton Canyon. That's my favorite spot, Boynton Canyon. And it's this skinny dude that's like a park ranger that every time we go, he happens to be there. And sometimes when we get there, he's pulling up at the same time and he's taking the red rocks and he put them in the form of hearts, shaped them as hearts, and he gives them out to everybody. And then we climb Boynton Canyon and we sit on the top. You've probably seen these pictures that we had. And he plays the flute on top of it, and you get to meditate on and whatnot. Very powerful, but subtle. It's subtle energy. It's no other way for me to explain it because it's not loud. Sedona is soft. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be soft to feel it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's Sedona's dope. Sedona's super dope. You know what I'm saying? For real. But yeah, get y'all Yogi on, man. Get y'all Yogananda on. You know what I mean? So they have those, and they got, I don't know if they got subordinate temples from SRF like in different places and whatnot, but the big one is in Cali. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah. Destiny. What's up, Tawana? No, like predestination. Is it written or do you write this shit? You know what I'm saying? Is it written or do you write it? It's a question mark. That's a question mark. I know that every cause creates an effect. But then the question becomes, when you got the inclination to create the cause, was that written? And so when you say, no, I got free will and choice, I'm going to turn on green and not turn on red. It's like, I'm going to go red and not do green. Was that already written and you're under the illusion that you got free will? It's tough. It's a question mark. It's a question mark. It's a very good study, because then it wouldn't even be no need for the horoscope aspect, right? But if it ain't your time, it ain't your time, regardless to whatever. It don't got to be a bad thing. It could be a good thing. But I also know that I ain't gonna hit the jackpot if I don't play that motherfucker too, right? So it's interesting when I look at the works, but I do lean more towards the side of is written. The question is, do you understand what is written? What did you write? Because when you start studying the works of Brian Weiss and start getting into this whole past life and reincarnation shit, and then you start seeing these real live testimonials and stories play out, that shit is playing out in this lifetime as a continuation from something previous, and it has to play out. But then here's the kicker is, consciousness gets to make a new decision to help augment it, so you don't have to repeat it. But then motherfuckers still make the same shit and end up repeating it too. You know what I'm saying? So it's when you understand this place, and it's an oxymoron, and somehow it's both at the same time, because that's what this place is about. This place is a beautiful, striking oxymoron of duality. You know what I'm saying? It is and it ain't at the same damn time. You know what I mean? Predestined / writing it, free will in a sense to choose. So it's just weird, man. So my verdict is kind of out on that. I can't say definitively, to be honest with you, or what that is. One thing I know for sure is I'm not gonna die from motherfucking lung cancer from cigarettes, because I don't fucking smoke cigarettes. That shit I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt. I got free will over there. That's not happening. But that don't mean that, you know what I'm saying? That again, how can we say that's not written? Well, nigga, you ain't supposed to smoke cigarettes, so you gonna have that predisposition that you ain't gonna get that from lung cancer because you don't smoke, nigga. You know what I mean? You can't say. I can't say. It's a very good one. But to be aware of your thoughts is the key to this shit, because the thoughts and your actions, because you know that all actions create a reaction. Therefore, if you can control that, then you already know what the outcome is going to be. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't got to worry about having, XYZ coming your way, because you ain't, you know what I mean? But then, like I said, like you got to justify the little kids that's getting killed by God's hurricanes. You got to justify that. You know what I'm saying? And the only thing that makes sense, if there is an all-knowing, all-wise intelligence, the only thing that do make sense would be the Eastern philosophy of soul evolution, reincarnation, karma. It's the only thing that makes sense to justify that shit. Other than that, if there's a God, then the nigga is just a ruthless nigga. You know what I'm saying? And that may be the case. You know what I mean? Just so that's verdicts out on that, man. You know what I mean? You know, it's weird. This place is a weird place, man. Weird place. What time is it? 6 o'clock. All right, man. So yeah, man. I just wanted to share some Yogananda, man. Salute to Yogananda. If you ain't hip on, man, you gotta get on. You gotta get on him. You gotta get on him. All right. You gotta get on him. Gotta get on him. All right. All right, man. So I ain't gonna hold you. I just wanted to say what's up to you, man. It's been a minute. I'll probably get with y'all this week, man. Come up with something. You know what I'm saying? I think I want to tackle this cosmic bliss. You know what I'm saying? Subject matter. I definitely think I want to deal with some. Maybe really start getting into some compatibility shit. You know what I'm saying? That's to me, that's the fun part of this, knowing how you stack up with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Seeing that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe we'll do something this week on that particular angle. All right. So anyway, man, y'all know what to do, man. If you need me, get at me, hit me up, man. You know what I'm saying? I get with you. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'll see y'all soon. All right. Peace.